Plus live.
Welcome back to Wook Plus. I am Weekend Wook, joined by Kev the Great Went and Mr. Ghost Llama. What's up, Llama? What's up, Kev?
How much?
It's weird. I didn't think about Llama not being in the intro and like the new layout, and then
we should have busted up an old one. We should have dug up an old one.
So T's out, got some family shit going on tonight. We wish him the best, I think, right? Or
no, he was going to a baseball game.
No, he had family shit during the other thing. He had baseball tonight. So
yeah,
I hope he's Dodgers fan, right? I hope they win for him. I don't know anything about
bobblehead. It was a bobblehead night. He had to go get a bobblehead.
He's like, "Fuck you guys! I'm getting a bobblehead. I know what my priorities are."
I mean, arguably the greatest pitcher of our generation.
Who is that?
Clayton Kershaw.
How is that even possible if I don't know him?
Well, you don't watch sports.
Yeah, but I know. All right, I'm not even gonna go who I know because I'm gonna embarrass myself.
You'd be like Nolan Ryan. I'd be like, man, he retired back in the 90s.
Well, that is Scotty McGregor.
What do you mean our generation? Yeah. Anyway,
I meant like of our age, right? Like he's our age. He's the greatest of like our generation.
Your generation.
My generation, not your generation. Your generation didn't produce shit but steroids.
Well, I mean, Babe Ruth.
What? Dude, no. My generation
was, yeah, you're right.
Dude, my generation was like a Jim Palmer or a Mike Flanagan or something, like men of honor.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. Right, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, tonight's going to be an interesting night. I'm glad we're talking baseball right off the rip. This is how I know it's going to be an excellent episode.
Rolly Fingers did have the best stash in baseball.
I got a card.
Oh, nice.
I
don't know. I can't see him.
Ben Adkin.
Yeah. There you go.
How's Ben doing? Have you heard anything, Kev? Is he still
He's been playing with other bands?
Yeah. Living the life.
Did a tour with DJ Williams, guitarist out of Denver, who's originally from Richmond, Virginia. And he's been doing the Elephant something. He has some band that he's in, Elephant something. And you see him pop up in pictures all the time, though. Like he'll do one-offs, I guess. Like pick up bands, a really good guitarist, a great bass player. They bring him in and boom.
Still making a living as a drummer, I guess. He's probably still living off that severance package. I give him another year or so of living off severance, and then he probably has to go pick up a side hustle.
Right. Well, I mean, you get a big pile of money, you pay off your crib, so you only have to pay the taxes on it every year. And then, you learn to live. If you live within your means, you can, work it for a long time.
That's a lot easier said than done. I mean, shit.
Yeah, yes, I understand.
Keeps announcing tours.
I've been poor my whole life, not because I don't make enough money, but I'm one of those assholes that just kind of spends what he makes. So when I started my career, I made less than half what I make now, and I still feel the same now, right? Because it's just I got to be better than that. But no, you're right. You can do it.
Keep it up with the Joneses. How we doing, Anderson?
I spoil my kids.
I saw you said you were in the hospital. Hope you're doing okay.
Oh no, hope it's not serious. That sucks.
Yeah.
You want to get into some set list?
Yeah. Where are you on GiLMouR and Floyd, Llama?
Where am I on GiLMouR and Floyd?
Yeah, like GiLMouR bringing Floyd back for Division Bell and all that.
That's fine. It's not my generation of rock, so I don't care. That's my take. I mean, I know it's kind of a cop out, but like, it's not going to affect me one way or the other. I didn't grow up with it, like, in the time.
Mm-hmm. See, it's weird to me, right? And I'm not poking fun at you because I know lots of people that feel that way. But to me, it was not this is one of the few bands that was not tied strictly to a generation, because I was a kid in the late 80s and early 90s, and we listened to a fuck ton of Pink Floyd. I have a cousin who was like early 80s, late 70s and listened to Pink Floyd. My dad was in like the 60s and the 70s. So I feel like every segment, right, it's timeless, I guess, right? Like it's part of so many people's lives. But I guess maybe diminishing return.
Classic radio for like years, right? But I guess they were always a band.
Floyd, though, like more than any other band was like, I would say Floyd and Zeppelin were like the two most prominent bands in my childhood.
Right. I mean, how many bands did everybody in high school be like, yeah, we're going to dose tonight and listen to The Wall, you know?
Right, or Dark Side.
Right.
I'm a big stan or fan of Floyd. I think they're probably like outside of the jam world, they're probably my favorite or second favorite. No, I don't top 5. Definitely top 5. It's hard because there's a lot of really good bands, but
you say outside
it's
of the
interesting
jam
to see
world,
playing.
Right? You say outside of the jam world. I've always considered them like the English equivalent of the Grateful Dead. Things like Astronomy Domine, Interstellar Overdrive, and then they got into Saucer Full of Secrets and these multi-part suites. The thing is, it's more what they did became prog rock. What the Grateful Dead did became jam bands like Widespread and thing, is how I would imagine the timeline went.
Yeah, I don't, maybe they do. And I had a limited perspective on it, but I don't think of improvisation at all when I think of Pink Floyd. I think of really rich compositions with really poignant, musical and lyrical motion and movement.
Yeah.
Were you a studio Pink Floyd guy? I had a bunch of Pink Floyd bootlegs from 69 to 72.
See, maybe that's the difference with the generation thing too, right? Like that's a band that was 100% out, like actual albums. That was like the first, before vinyl was like resurged, but after it had kind of died when it was in that gray area, those were the albums that still lived. Like I would dig my mom's record player out of the attic and fucking play Pink Floyd vinyls, and
but to answer Kev's question, it doesn't matter what GiLMouR really did with like I guess who owns Pink Floyd, like that's not me to say, I guess, right? Like Waters or GiLMouR, it doesn't matter to me,
right? I can't keep up with which one of them is saying something stupid or isn't, and who likes who. I feel like they're because I hate to be so like
we have Oasis for that,
separate the music from the artist. But like I feel like every time I see either one of them in the headlines, there's such strong opinions about them. I'm like, I don't fucking know what either of them.
The thing is, this crap goes back 40 some years with them, right? And after the final cut, like Waters fired Wright during The Wall and then brought him back as a contract player, like basically gave him a salary for the final cut. GiLMouR didn't play on all of the final cut. And then Waters says the band broke up. GiLMouR decided to try to continue being Pink Floyd in 87, and Waters sued him and said that Pink Floyd was a spent force creatively, and he had no right to use the name because he wasn't even the original guitarist. Sid Barrett was.
Right.
So he threw a little salt on the wound. You weren't even an original member.
That was Waters said that to GiLMouR, right? Yeah. I mean, very anecdotally, without putting myself, handcuffed to either one of them, I do feel like Waters pissed me off or was just more of a dick, right?
Oh, he always has been. He's a complete ass. But well. Anyway,
we're burying the lead. Let's actually say what the whole point was. GiLMouR just played again for the first time.
He played 2 shows, right? Since 2016 was the last time he performed, and I believe at the time he said he was never going to do Pink Floyd stuff again. Which he did do
6, I think, right? I think that was a typo.
2006, like Breathe. He hadn't played Breathe since 2006. When he toured in 2016, he only did stuff off of Pink Floyd 2.0, Momentary Lapse and Division Bell, and then whatever the solo albums he had. Something maybe Rattle the Lock, I think, was the album that came out that year. And they put out another Pink Floyd album that was just ambient soundscape kind of thing, more than what you think.
Apparently he sold all his gear, Dave's saying.
Yes, he did. And there's a video on YouTube. You can see the rehearsal, so you can see what he has. But he had an extra guitarist with him. He had 2 keyboardists. He had a drummer. He had his kid, Romany GiLMouR on harp and vocals, couple other backup vocalists. Did Breathe Time Breathe. Did Fat Old Son.
You couldn't choose. You didn't know Romany or Romany. You decided to go with both.
I decided to go with both.
Big debate.
I hope he's wrong both ways.
That would be especially funny.
Right. Yeah. So they were some Pink Floyd songs in the first set. Second set only had one Pink Floyd song. He did do 2 sets though. That's cool. Great Gig is the only one, which is weird. And so bunch of stuff off the solo albums, and then the encore was Comfortably Numb. I guess GiLMouR has to play that. Every time you see GiLMouR, there's a Comfortably Numb involved. So
I mean, that sounds like a great time. Great show.
Lots of stuff off of later Pink Floyd, Division Bell, Sorrow, some stuff that was never played before, The Piper's Call, Great Day for Freedom, which was a Pink Floyd song, I guess, off Division Bell. But they did not do the Earthbound Misfits song, whatever that one is. Learning to Fly, maybe it's called. Yeah. Anyway, would you go see David GiLMouR?
If he was local, yeah, I don't think I would travel or drop a bunch of money. It's cool. I can only speak like from my personal perspective, but like there's this very, very deep, nostalgic, like raw emotional connection I have to that music. Like I remember Joey Ryan. It was my high school buddy, lived up the street on top of the deli, and I used to go down, and he had a single father, his parents were divorced. He lived with his dad, and his dad worked like 3 jobs. Right. So like basically we owned the house. Like we were like 12 years old, 13 years old. And we used to hotbox the entire fucking place and just blast Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? And like, so like I could still feel the couch, like that like burlap. I could smell it. We used to go downstairs to the deli afterwards, like, which was awesome because you have a deli right underneath you. And like, it's just super profound, like scenes that are tied to that music. And just when you were listening to the songs, thinking about it, I was like back in that. So yeah, I absolutely would like I mean, it's weird to say your childhood when you think of it like that, but like my youth, my young, like I would absolutely go see it and relive that. I think that'd be a lot of fun, actually.
I got to see Floyd a few times.
Oh, yeah.
With the GiLMouR Floyd in '87 and '94, I guess, or when the
what did they tour at, or was it? Without GiLMouR, did Roger Waters tour as just Floyd? Like not Pink Floyd?
No, he only ever toured as Roger Waters. But he did The Wall. The last tour he did The Wall, and he had
I'm thinking about there was a couple of things when it was The Dead, not Grateful Dead. And I was conflating the two, seeing Roger Waters and seeing
he never
The Dead, not the Grateful Dead. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I got to see him in '87, and then a month later I got to see Pink Floyd. And I tell you what, GiLMouR put on a better show because of the song selection. And he had Jim Ladd, this DJ, like up there playing songs. And then he's like, and here's Roger Waters with his latest Radio Waves. And boom, the lights came up and the band was playing. And he had videos of Syd Barrett singing while the band played live with Barrett singing us. What was the Emily song? See Emily Play, I guess, or Arnold Lane, one of them. It was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. He did the whole Wall thing recently. And Robert Walters from Mike Gordon's band was his keyboardist.
Small world.
Yeah.
Let's jump into this next one here, because I think I'm ready.
We should dive into it.
Yeah, let's just face first. All right, so someone on Twitter, I don't remember, posted a video of some influencer, Bob Weaver posted this video. This part doesn't matter. What's interesting though is there's this video of this lady, female influencer, young, whatever, doesn't know PHiSH well, who's like trying to discover PHiSH, like one of those videos, like reacting, listening to it for the first time. She's like a show tune girl, like music major type of thing. So she does like a random selection on the YouTube page, like scrolls until she just randomly picks it. And the very first song that she picks, that's her first introduction to PHiSH, is fucking Mull. And she kind of destroys it in exactly the perfect way, which actually made me think she would actually probably be really into PHiSH, because she was nailing. She'd
be a great PHiSH fan.
Yeah, she like nailed it. She was like, "Oh, these vocals. Oh, he's a little flat. Oh, I think I hear a melody," and it was brilliant. But it got me kind of thinking about how important your first experience to fish, your first exposure to fish is, and can you think of a worse song to be your first? To me, like if you and you guys know how I feel about those songs, but like if you asked me to pick like a song to play for like somebody I didn't want to get into it, that would be the song I would pick, and like the odds of her picking that are insane. Llama's about to jump in and then lost it.
I'm thinking of a good one here. Hold on.
The first song that
bubble
I heard,
song that Mike played.
The Boy in a Bubble. Mike's solo band is much better with that stuff. Just so we know,
all of them.
I love them all too, Christopher. The first song that I ever heard PHiSH play, I was standing outside debating to pay $7 to go in and see this band that I thought was an Allman Brothers cover band, and they were playing I Didn't Know. Now, if you had never heard PHiSH before and the first thing you heard was I Didn't Know, would you fork over the $7?
You were at a bar? Like, yeah, why not?
That I Didn't Know from '93 that we just listened to
was jam chart material.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty fucking good. So I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say because like we could say now, knowing like the full catalog, oh, this song sucks, this song isn't. But like with the right environment and the right silliness and the right attitude, it all could work. Dude,
$7 was a lot. Dude, $7 you could buy a case of beer back then.
Yeah.
A lot of money. And then they played You Enjoy Myself, which I found fascinating. I was like,
what lured you in? How long did it take? How many songs before you were into it?
I think The Antelope was the one I asked somebody who seemed to know what was going on, what it was called. And that was toward the end of the first set, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, when are they going to play Jessica?
Right. Well, you know what? The next time I saw them, they did Jessica for the sound check. It's funny you say that.
There you go.
And I got my first tape after that second show. Some guy's like, I got a tape in my car I'll give you. Because I heard PHiSH the one time and then did not hear them again for 3 months till I went and saw them again.
My first PHiSH song I ever heard, it wasn't live, was a recording, was Jesus Left Chicago. And I think that was a very easy like on-ramp because it was like I was already like in classic rock and blues and stuff, and it was like familiar. But it was specifically the Slip Stitch and Pass version, and then it went into Way, and I'm sure I've said this on the show many times, that was the song that I was like drank the Kool-Aid instantly. I'm like, I'm gonna love this band for the rest of my life. And it's I guess you could argue like that's a weird song too, to like, right? So I don't know, like you don't necessarily have to have like a sample or Yam or Divided Sky to like get you. Everybody gets some different reasons.
When someone's like, I love that Way song, you're like, honey, call the therapist.
Yeah, that's me.
What was your first PHiSH song? Oh, I know your story. It wasn't PHiSH, it was Trey, right?
Yeah. So Trey's solo album was actually my introduction to PHiSH, I guess. Like, or at least that PHiSH universe, right? I grew up in a household where like pop music and things were not really played or considered. So when I left, I read like a magazine of like greatest guitarist, and like I wanted to pick one that wasn't obvious, right? And I was like, oh, this one looks cool. Oh, Trey, like oh, here's his album, and I'll listen to it, and I liked it. And then I got
Are you talking about the one where he's looking all forlorn in the rain?
Yeah.
Like with Alive Again and everything.
Yeah. Night Speaks to a Woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Review.
I was gonna say that's a really good album.
That's a really good album. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my first PHiSH album was Pitcher of Nectar. And doesn't that open with Manteca?
I don't know. No.
It might open with the cat. No, it opens with
Cavern.
Llama. It's Llama.
Oh,
it's Llama. Llama's something, and then Cavern is the third.
Cavern.
Okay.
That was Christina's first album because in college I played that for her, and it got stuck in my CD player in my car. So every time Every time I pick her up to go on a date or we drive anywhere, we just listen to Nectar over and over and over and over again. One of those shitty like aftermarket,
Nectar was released on my 21st birthday, and my girlfriend at the time went to the record store, got it that morning for me, and bought tickets for the Lisner Auditorium show the next month. And I was like, you're a keeper.
And what happened to her?
And what happened?
Another 2 months, 3 months, probably past the show, and it was
made it to the show. You're like, yeah, not so much a keeper anymore.
It's been a great month, babe.
Oh man. I have no idea who that woman was, the influencer lady or whatever, and I have no idea if she's gonna give it another chance. But I would like to check in a couple years and see if like she did end up ever listening to anything else, and if Mold kept her away from it. I know like you guys defending shit, but like Mike's singing is offensive. Like it is especially if you're not used to PHiSH. Because like PHiSH doesn't have great vocals to begin with. So like our bar is already low. And then you hear it and you're like, it still hurts. But if you're like coming in from like a pop world and like good singers and good musicians, and like you're a musician yourself, and then the first thing you hear is Mike reaching for a note and landing flat.
Maybe have we ever thought that maybe Mike's vocals aren't mixed correctly for him doing a lead vocal because they're mixed for him to be a background vocalist?
No, his pitch is off. I mean, it might not be mixed right, but his pitch is off. So
should he use auto-tune? Should he use auto-tune?
My theory is that he writes for a voice in his head that is not realistic to his own abilities. Because when he sings other people's songs, and especially covers, he can actually sound decent, right? When it's in his range. But the songs that he writes, for whatever reason, which is ironic. Sorry, Mike. I mean, Essie. For whatever reason, the songs he writes out of his range. And he's always he scoops. He goes, and he like lands and he's like flat. It's hard to describe, but why do we always end up me bitching about Mike singing? How does this happen?
I don't know. I had a question.
All right, what's your question?
So you were wondering if she'd give PHiSH another shot, but has there been a band where like the first song you heard, you're like, no, not for me. And then you heard another song later on and you gave him a second chance?
Oh yeah. There's a big one for me. A very obvious one that is well known and triggering to people.
Is it Goose?
It is Goose. The first time I heard Goose, I fucking hated it. I was like, this is horse shit. I don't want to listen to this ever again. And then like a while went by and then I listened to it again and I was like, oh, all right.
The change in drummer did it, huh?
No, I got back into them way before Ben left.
Oh, okay.
I mean, back into them. I mean, I appreciated some of their music. I was never like hardcore. Right. The most I've been into it was when Ben left. For like that 6 months, I like really got into it hard, and then I kind of fell off again.
Yeah.
When I was 13, I read a book about the Rolling Stones, and they were talking about Miles Davis. So I went over to the library record section and found Bitch's Brew. Brought it home. I was like, oh, it has bitch in the title. I was like, this is going to be good. I was like, what the hell is this? Didn't listen to Miles Davis for like 2 or 3 more years. It took me like a while before I got back around. Maybe I should try this. So
Electric Miles, not for you, but maybe try some of his earlier stuff.
Right. Well, when I was 12, 13, it just wasn't I wanted AC. I was an AC/DC kid. I wanted 3 minutes. Get to the chorus. Come on, let's do
I was going to say, I like Bitches Brew. I don't know. I understood the intent of what you were saying, but I was like, it wasn't computing for me. I was like, wait, this doesn't make any sense.
A little sexual innuendo in there.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. You want to go on? Kev, where's your awesome transition, man? You got anyone for me?
Oh,
we'll just boop into it. How about that?
Boop there. So Infamous String Dusters have released a cover of them doing Possum. So I guess we decided that it would be interesting to talk about people covering PHiSH, where we are on that. The String Dusters do a good job. I guess Possum is kind of an obvious song along with Get Back on the Train for a more bluegrass influence thing. I'm throwing Billy Strings in there with them. But so it sounded good. Good for them. Interesting that they wanted to try that out at this point in their career, since they're known in their circles for what they do on their own.
Yeah, the idea of people covering PHiSH is a very tricky one for me, because you have to think of like two different ways, like studio wise, or like trying to emulate like the experience that is seeing like a PHiSH song. I think on the experience side, probably not something I'm looking for, and I don't think would work really well. Like, I think there's probably very few artists and bands that can replicate their sound and make it, or not even replicate it, but do something in that essence and like really make it something that I want to see. But what I am intrigued by is taking just the studio version and making a new version of it. And I can't think of the exact example I want, but there's something that's like a recent Trey song that I would like to hear an actual pop version, because Trey always sounds like he's writing like poppy songs but can't get out of his not poppy way. So if you took like the composition, the writing, but had it produced and edited and sang by like legit pop producer and pop artist,
Friday.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
there's a number of them that I think would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Fucking, you paused for the whole fucking weekend, Kev.
Working for the weekend, baby. I was working for the weekend.
So Thursday.
Let's use as an example. We had the whole Farmhouse album was done by people doing covers of them. Some more successful than others. Some people push the boundaries of what we're familiar with. Would you rather
like
somebody change it?
Neil Young doing Farmhouse would be cool, right? Or like somebody with like the old folksy kind of like or Willie Nelson doing like a Farmhouse.
Johnny Cash. What PHiSH song would you want to have heard Johnny Cash do? Everything's right.
At this point,
can I cut your head off so I can wait? What do you say?
Man, I'm not a fan of it, and I think part of
fan of what?
Of people doing covers of PHiSH songs, and I think part of my resistance to it is I see PHiSH songs as their personal property. PHiSH songs belong to PHiSH.
That's not so ironic because of how many
Get the fuck out, man. Once art goes out, it belongs to the world.
Well, and also they're a band that have built largely on covering other artists, right? Like they play Zappa, they play the Stones, they play the Beatles, they play Hendrix, they play fucking Talking Heads, Ween.
SC, I felt back, if you had to ask me this same question in 1987, why don't people cover Grateful Dead songs? I would have said because they're like the Jefferson Airplane. It's considered their personal property, and that's why they don't do it. Even though over time, everybody covers Grateful Dead songs now. So maybe it's just weird.
I feel like people cover Jefferson Airplane too, don't they?
No, people do White Rabbit sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm pretty sure I've seen like at least 6 different bands play White Rabbit.
One song though, you don't see anybody doing something off Bathing at Baxter's.
That still counts though. Like, just because they cover one, that's still covering a band.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a ton of really good famous bands that cover the Grateful Dead, but there are a ton of shitty Dead cover bands though.
Oh no, there was like a whole The National put together like a whole compilation, like 30 Days of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with all those different indie bands on there.
Oh, right. That was pretty good.
Well, one I found very interesting, if you've never heard for a Grateful Dead thing, is the Decemberists do a cover of Road Jimmy that's really, really good. It like totally fits in with their instrumentation. And it isn't that different, but
I just
it's good.
remembered
It's
I was
strong.
supposed to listen to Taylor Swift this past weekend. I completely forgot to.
Wait, whoa.
That's all right, man. Shake it off.
Stop the music. Stop the rock and roll.
Are we gonna go see them, Ken?
I'm trying to find a ride up there.
Oh, is that why you're asking me?
No, I wanted you just to meet me there. I didn't think that you were going to be that. None of our paths wouldn't cross trying to get to that end point.
I'm probably not able to make it, but I would absolutely love to do it.
All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow, Friday. See what we can come up with.
Yeah, that's Saturday. Oh no, I can't do it. I'm a training people on Saturday.
Oh, right, you're a team captain.
I am a captain.
Yeah. So who would you, if you could see somebody do a PHiSH song, what song and what artist would you really like? A Chappelle Rappel or whoever you were talking about earlier.
Oh, what?
Chappelle Ronan or somebody would, or
who? I want to see how many times you mispronounce somebody's name.
Or a Taylor Swift. If Taylor Swift did a PHiSH song, what would you want her? Driver? I could see her doing Driver.
I could see her doing Bouncing Around the Room.
Or Waste. Waste would fit perfect for her.
Shade. She could do Shade.
Waste is what I was saying before about having a pop artist or somebody. That's a song I would love to see, and not just the artist though, the producers and like the whole setup, like get it done like that. That'd be cool. That'd be very cool. Yeah, dude. Okay, Dan's on to something with Metallica doing Carini or like what's their face? Fuck, just left me. Tool, like Pantera would like a heavier band doing like Fuck Your Face or oh, dude.
Fucking Slayer doing Maze.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking Slayer with like the really fast like double bass like instead of like the hi-hat kicking, you have the double bass like yeah, that would be sick.
How about Coldplay doing The Connection?
Okay.
Oh, this is good. Green Day, but like doing a Green Day version of more.
Yeah,
it's good, dude. I can't do it, but I can hear that like voice in my head doing.
Yeah, Pantera should do Tweezer since they already know the riff.
That's a deep cut. Oh,
major burn.
We're gonna fly through this set list and have to burn like 20 minutes.
We're doing fantastic.
Oh, Vampire Weekend covered PHiSH on their tour, on the second leg of their tour with Mike Gordon. Mike Gordon band was opening for him on the Pacific Northwest, and they played Chalk Dust. Are
they trying to break? Like what is there anything going on with like the fact that they came out with Goose and that they're touring with Mike? Is it just because of what's his face CT, or is there like are they like jam adjacent? I'm not a big Vampire Weekend guy, so what is the relationship there?
So they put out 3 studio albums and then they kind of went on like a hiatus, and their 4th album, Father of the Bride, came out in 2019, and Ezra wrote all these songs that were meant to be kind of expanded upon like on stage.
Okay,
so they got really jammy. Yeah. So they got a little jammy in the Father of the Bride tour, and then they just kind of got a new group of studio session musicians for their Only God Was Above Us tour. So they kind of changed the structure of some of their songs to fit the different instruments that their players can play. And then they've been like taking random requests from the audience and trying to do fun things to like keep it different, changing the set list every night kind of thing. But
so I mean, it sounds kind of like they are kind of like a jam band or like a adjacent.
It's jam adjacent for sure, and they've got a really good like lot scene, like really good lot shirts and stuff, and they got like a .net that has a bunch of audio recordings and things like that.
That's cool.
What is up with? Didn't Goose cover them?
They played together.
Goose was actually asked. They wanted to put out a double LP or double album, I guess, like a
Maxi
two
single.
A sides.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Of 2021, which was their song, and they had one. They got 2 artists to do a cover, but the trick was the cover had to be 20 minutes and 21 seconds, and so they got Goose to do that, and then they were like, "Oh, we should probably do something together at some point," because they did all that over COVID, and then when they had the opportunity, when they were like in the same vicinity to go up and jam, that was unrehearsed too.
That's
Okay.
But yeah, that was like a 30-minute Oxford, or no, it was a 30-minute Cape Cod.
I love that, Kev, by the way. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I love that face. I know that face. You knew the answer and you were saying, I'd be like, let me be witty. Like, you had like the pride of the you're like, oh, did you cover Goose? And you're like, that face. I was like, I know.
I couldn't remember what year it was. I couldn't remember the year. I was like, was it 2020 that they called it?
Oh, so funny. Nice.
That's fantastic.
Nice.
Good for them.
Yeah, but
good for them. So, what kind of cover do you know? Any of the covers they've tried off the top of your head? Anything that grabbed you?
Honestly, whatever the like audience throws up, right? So it's kind of a crapshoot.
Right.
They don't play the whole song, right? They'll play like the chorus or like the melody and kind of rip on it a little bit.
As much as they can figure out on the spot.
Pretty
There
much.
You go. Right.
Yeah.
I tell you, the Eagles at the Sphere were kind of a crapshoot.
Boink. Wait, I couldn't remember if it was a boink or boom or. I couldn't remember the sound. I messed it up. Boom.
Beep.
Oh man. I wish you could rewind.
Fourth band, right? Fourth time a band has played at the Sphere.
How long is their residency? How long is this going on?
Through February.
Holy shit, that's a long time. I guess is what you have to do now, right? In order for it to make sense.
Well, but technically, aren't the Eagles more popular than the Grateful Dead in terms of record sales?
Sure.
Yeah,
but you don't see them multiple times. You see them once.
Yeah, I would argue that the Dead and Co would have an easier time selling tickets.
Well, I think that there's breaks in this. So
like they're not doing
2 weeks and then 2 weeks off kind of thing, or every other week. And they have a New Year's show booked that's some DJ there, so they won't be there that night.
That has to be wild.
I think Pink Floyd could have played the Sphere. Of course. People would have been lined up around. They could have done the wall in there for real with the huge wall behind them and all the animations. Oh, man.
Oh, you know what they're doing? So I just looked up the calendar. They're splitting it with the U2 immersive concert film is actually way, way more prominent than the actual Eagles. The Eagles are only playing Friday and Saturday each week. They're not doing any Sunday, Monday, or rest of it. But the U2 stuff from the first play there they're playing that every single day, which is crazy.
So for your $50, you can go see U2.
Oh, dude, and they're not even doing every weekend. They're only doing 4 shows a month.
Right, exactly. That's what I was saying.
It is that's weak.
Well, let me tell you.
Is that even a tour?
Because I'm looking out for. They've been on tour forever. The final something tour they called it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Tell us.
Joe Walsh should not be singing. Number one, the man just sounds horrible.
He's the Mike Gordon of the Eagles.
Yeah, and Life's Been Good is like one of their best songs in the city. I mean, but the set list, I felt like if you look at the 4 things, PHiSH was the most inventive because they did it right only 4 days and came up with completely new stuff for everything. Dead and Company was second best because they came up with all this neat stuff, but then made it so it was interchangeable, which I think is the only financially feasible way to do this, ultimately. And then you had U2 and the Eagles, which were very much more, let's put the band up on the screen kind of thing. And let's not use the whole breadth of the screen for everything.
Right.
How do we know that's how the Eagles were? They haven't played yet.
They did play already. And I watched all the videos on YouTube. They did Life.
They had some cool graphics though. The Hotel California thing was kind of cool.
It was very literal. Remember when we talked about whether things should be literal or not? Like Life in the Fast Lane was a car driving the whole time behind them.
But that's the creative capacity of the band, for better or worse. And no offense, I'm gonna probably piss some people off. But I think that's the creative capacity of the people watching too. Like, right? I don't know that they want mind-altering, stick your dick in a blender type. Like, I feel like it's just a different crowd. I'm not even saying better or worse. It's just more classic rock, big.
They played to their crowd. They played to their crowd.
Right. It would be weird if you had psychedelia, like melting car wash, dog licking your, with the Eagles playing. That would be weird, I think.
Right, but I don't want to see their old asses up on the screen either.
No, but I don't think this is for us.
And they had 4 guitarists. Why do you need 4 guitarists? 2 keyboard players, 4 guitarists, 2 drummers, and then the bass guy.
I don't even understand. I know all you fucking heads
I tell you
hate me for this, but I don't like 2 drummers either. I think that's ridiculous.
Right and left ear. Don Henley is one of the drummers, and his voice sounded pretty good. They did Boys of Summer, which I was glad he got to throw in one of his solo tunes. The best part though was Vince MF and Gil doing Glenn Frey's songs on like the country more flavored, peaceful, easy feel, and he just knocked it out of the park. That man has the best voice. It's just smooth, just
Second though to you. I think you got the best voice, my man.
So I'm thumbs up. I'm thumbs up on them, and I am not really an Eagles fan. But if I was in Vegas and someone was like, "We got comp tickets for the Eagles Fair," I was like, "I'll go listen to all those songs one more time."
I feel like this took a turn, though. I thought you were shitting on them like 3 minutes ago, and now you're saying you're.
I would compliment sandwich, man. Compliment sandwich.
Oh, you're gonna trigger me. Oh no, that's a callback.
Yes, Vince Gill is with the Eagles. SC. He took over for Glenn Frey.
Kev, let me ask you a question. Are you surprised that there's only been 4 acts now? When they start, it's been a year, right? It was last September.
Yeah, it's been it's been a year.
It's been a year. How are the fuck? It's already been a year. They're only on the 4th major act.
Yeah, but how many shows?
But I think that Dead & Co. did that many shows in part because they didn't have anyone lined up.
You 2 did a mess of shows too.
Yeah, but that made sense because that was the first couple of months to get things kicked off. But I mean, we don't need to rehash what happened. We all know what happened. My question is, are you surprised that it happened that way and that they still don't have anyone else booked?
Right. I think it's the production value. And I bet come Thanksgiving, they're going to announce for either PHiSH is going to show up there again and do the 8 shows like we heard.
They're going to do the 8 shows, yeah.
Right. So they'll be the first repeat. And then after that, it will be something announced that's going to be the rest of the summer that maybe goes more pop leaning. Or something.
But I'm just surprised it's taking so long. I expected something pop leaning over the summer.
Announcement. We've heard how hard it is to create this stuff. I mean, it's months, months in the making to create.
Maybe PHiSH set the bar too high because, maybe like you're saying, just put some fucking blow them up on the screen, add some crazy visuals around them, and just leave it, right? Right, but like a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce or fucking Billie Eilish or something. Not like a whole residency, but do a 4-night long weekend, or just get if I'm looking at the calendar right now, and every single night except for 4 nights a month that are the Eagles is this thing called the Sphere Experience. It's the same
it's a movie theater. It's a $1 billion movie theater.
It's a $1 billion movie theater that plays one movie every day for the next 4 months.
So your next stop is the Twilight Zone.
That is shocking to me. I don't know. I just expected more.
I just think that it's the production, like everyone's saying.
I hope PHiSH does.
Could it also be that the owner of the Sphere is an idiot?
Watch out! You won't be allowed in MSG.
No, well, listen. I'm not going to defend the guy. by any means, or the company. But MSG Entertainment also runs a lot of other venues that do very, very well, and they figure it out. So I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to defend the guy. I just don't know that strict incompetence is the only thing. Maybe it's a late adopter thing. It's the technology.
I think it's
thing.
money laundering. I'm with Willie.
There you go. Oh, thank you.
Well,
Willie.
you know, I saw a post that who was the band was playing an empty arena the other day. Somebody was taking pictures from the arena. It wasn't Trump. It was like an actual band, and like the whole arena was like empty. There was like the floor was half full, and like the lower 100 seats had like a quarter of the people there, and everything else was empty. I think all artists are just struggling this year. Yeah, they're not selling the same tickets. Except for PHiSH.
I can't believe Albany didn't sell out like within minutes. There were tickets on sale the next day.
Yeah, I'm not that surprised.
Not that surprised really either, I guess.
Mm.
You know, whoever canceled, like the Black Keys had to cancel their arena tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think some artists over like they
War on Drugs.
overshot
That
how
was it,
big they
Mike.
were.
Yeah, War on Drugs. Yeah, so man, I don't know War on Drugs. Are they a band that's typically playing arenas?
Wait, I'm seeing them tomorrow night. They haven't canceled their tour.
No. They're the band that was playing that I saw that was playing the empty arena. Like their promoter. Are you seeing them at an arena?
I don't know. I
you know where you're going?
I've never somewhere in Madison. I don't know. Is it an arena? I'm not sure. Ask Jason.
What's the name of the place? Throw out the name. Look at your tickets. He's got to look at his tickets. This is great. This is why we do it live.
Because I want to know if their promoter overextended them and booked bigger venues than they could reach.
Well, no, because the National are with them too, right? So it's like two acts. And what happened is they might go on first, so people aren't there yet, right?
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, but let's see here.
Or everybody comes and sees the National first and leaves.
Yeah.
Like when I saw Alice in Chains,
Stevens Field is, I got no clue where that is. Breeze Stevens Field, man. I don't know.
Okay. When I saw Alice in Chains, like what's the Bush or something played before him, something with a B, and a lot of people left after them, and I was like, dude, you aren't here to see Alice in Chains.
Dude, I saw Modest Mouse and the Pixies, and I left after Modest Mouse. I was like, I don't need to see the Pixies.
Oh, dude, the Pixies, they wrote Smells Like Teen Spirit.
I forgot what we were
better
talking
when Nirvana
about.
covered it. We were talking about the Eagles at the Sphere, man. It's highlighted.
Is it that time? Is it that time?
Are you ready?
Again?
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
ready?
I'm back. Yep. And here we are with our Neil Young Minute. Neil Young is back with a new band. Crazy Horse, if you haven't heard, was too much. So they had to disband, and maybe Crazy Horse will be back in the future. Probably not. So I think he has what's the name of that guy? Nathan Radcliffe and Promise of the Real. I think Promise of the Real, part of them are his backing band now, but not the main singer. So they debuted at Farm Aid, and we got 7 or 8 songs. Powderfinger was the only one that really rocked. They did Heart of Gold. You know, it was kind of a greatest hits acoustic-y thing. And then they did 2 shows at the Capitol Theater where we got Powderfinger, Roll Another Number, but it seemed like it was very acoustic, towards acoustic. He played piano on 2 songs. They did Hey Babe, which was written in 1977, never played before. So, I mean, I'm interested. I'm going to look for some videos tomorrow on it. I didn't get a chance to look for them, but good for him. And that's your Neil Young Minute.
That was awesome, man. Well done. You timed that perfectly.
Yeah.
You didn't even know I was going to set a timer on that. We never gave. We should have. You know, we learned this last time. We should have gave chat heads up. Well, I mean, I guess they could have seen
We
it
did
on the
give them a
set
heads
list.
up.
I will let everybody know what I'm up to because I'll fill some time. For those of you who know, I am a huge Zelda fan, and today, or maybe yesterday, brand new Zelda came out, so I'm going to be getting that this weekend. Very excited about it. Kev, what have you been up to?
Well, let me answer Essie's question.
Oh, good. He has a question already.
I did not pick one of the Warlock shows because I feel like the RFK 90 show is a superior show than either one of those. And the Dark Star is 100 times better. What have I been up to? Same old thing. I found, oh, check this out.
Are you still walking?
I found this, yes, every day.
4?
Unopened. I'm gonna see if I can sell it on eBay to someone.
Well, that's probably safer than playing it. I'm at the end of my Civ run. Thankfully, just in time for Zelda, because I played it like really, really hard, and I've won the culture victory a bunch of times, science victory a bunch of times, and I'm like, all right. After a while, it does kind of be like, all right, it's, you know what I mean. Like,
did you build the Statue of Liberty?
I got the Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower. Okay.
Forget Zelda. What are you talking? No, listen, I would love to go see God Street Wine, but problem is it's in Jersey, and I'm canvassing this weekend, and I got 2 kids, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole production. Like, I'll try. I'm gonna talk to the wife about it, but she's very she does a lot already. I got to be careful how much I ask her to do. You know. I would love to see that. I like that a lot.
I got a question for you guys. Why are we?
We didn't get to hear what Llama was up to, but we can. All right, you can ask.
Right.
No, go ahead, Llama.
I got a War on Drugs tomorrow. I'm going to go see them in the National.
All right, that's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, in a soccer stadium, evidently. So,
do they overlap? Do they come out with each other, or they both just do their own sets?
I will let you know after I see the show, Kev. I can't tell you what's going to happen until I go.
Right. Well, I thought maybe you peaked. You aren't a set list.
No, he's not. I'm not surprised. I think Llama's a go in and experience it fresh kind of guy. He's not going to try to fuck it up beforehand.
I want to know when to cheer, so I need the set list beforehand.
You're the guy that gets the spark notes before you watch a movie.
Yeah. Oh, halfway through a movie, I'll go to Wikipedia and look up what happens at the end to see if I want to finish watching it.
Kev, that just reminded me, since we're doing this weird side dip in the niche things, what did you think about Agatha?
I like Penguin a hell of a lot better.
Really? I haven't caught Penguin yet, but you didn't like
Penguin
Agatha?
Was beautiful. Penguin was beautiful. Okay. I thought Agatha got...
So is that to say that Agatha wasn't good, or that you just really like
Agatha
Penguin?
Was really good, but I just don't feel like they quite hit it. Like, it was... I don't know.
I think maybe I just had really low expectations because I went into it expecting to hate it, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I was like, damn, this kind of... I don't know. I was intrigued by it. I know I got to catch Penguin. Problem is, I'm one of these guys that's like, I hate to admit it, but it's like having the universe so split and knowing that like Matt Reeves shit is like on its own side. It's hard for me to get excited about it. I wish if they had announced that what's his face, the Gunn verse and the Reeves verse were all connected, I would eat it up. But I don't know. I did hear it was really good. I did.
Really good Penguin. Really
Thunderbolts trailer looks sick too. Sentry. Oh, anyway.
So I've been watching this show called The Americans.
The Americans.
The what was that? Hulu or whatever with the Russians.
Yeah.
On FX. Yeah. That's
I don't know. It's so far it's been really good. Yeah. I like the pacing of it. Like you don't get pacing like that anymore in shows. Like I feel like they try to get to the action too fast and they don't build things up anymore.
Yeah, that's because our generation has shitty attention spans. Yeah. I blame us. It's terrible.
Kind of like it's kind of like how we don't have slow build Pipers anymore, right? They just jump right into it.
Or the divided or the David Bowies, or what was the one, Kevin, we were talking about the other night? The gyms, even the Runaway Gym. The extra like 4 bars in it where they're just chilling before they bring it, They need that extra patience. You're right. Pacing is everything, Llama.
Yeah.
Fucking, you are so right. Kev, what was your question?
Lightning. I
The
was thinking
hockey
about
team or
no, this RFK 90 show, thinking about it. It was lightning. I mean, there was lightning within softball radius, what I call it, because they always called softball games if it was more than within a mile of the field or 5 miles, whatever. And it was torrential downpours. Now there's like Ormond Green, they cancel the whole rest of the festival because it might rain.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about that actually a lot. I think that there is a trigger shy or more of a hesitancy, because they're older, but ever since curveball and all the COVID shit, I think that there's no appetite for pushing it right with the band or the management. And I think there's never been an appetite for it or with the municipalities and the insurance companies, but maybe when they were younger or less, conservative, not conservative politically, but just like, personally.
It's the fact that the 80s were a completely different time, maybe they weren't thinking about insurance companies and all that. They were like, let's get this over. We have 80,000 people in the building.
I don't think it's just the 80s though, because I saw PHiSH I remember shows in like 12, 13, 14 where there were like tornado warnings and like massive thunderstorms, and they still played like at sheds and stuff. And like I remember being in the lot with like monsoon torrential downpour, like huddle. Well, like even fucking Hershey, remember that couple years ago?
21, right? Yeah.
And they were like, we're not calling this shit, right? Everything before the before time, but now it's just like, I don't know. It might also have been Dover, right? Like I don't know if the Speedway has any say in it, or the town, or the cops, or it's probably the insurance. But my point is, I think that shit was always there. I just don't think the band pushes back as hard either. I think they probably used to fight more. Now they're probably just like, all right, whatever you say, fuck it, we're not doing it.
Cool. I'll be in my trailer.
I mean, as much as everybody bitches about it, and as like disappointing as it is to not to get the big Sunday night, this was also still 7. You know what I mean? Like that was still a big. It was an extended thing. I don't know. I'm fine with it. Yeah, I had a feeling the Speedway. I'm thinking what you're saying as gospel, even though I have no idea if what and how you know
it's
it.
It's a racetrack. He has numbers in his name. It goes together, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Speedway that had involvement with that too.
That would have been Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. The only time I've ever seen her. She did What I Am, and we all boogied our little boogie butts.
Why is Willie doing all caps? I don't even know what he's saying, but
he's just yelling at us.
Man. I know. Yeah. It's so funny because I read it like in a yelling tone too, like
T does that when he's writing scripts.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes he'll get into Telegram and be all caps yelling at us. Hey, how you guys doing today?
It's so funny because like in my industry, we use CAD and we do like building plans and stuff. And all the text on the building plans are all caps. So everybody writes. So like our team's messages, it's just fucking everybody just yelling at each other. That's funny, Willie. That's for Kev.
Thank you. Always looking out for me.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. Anything else? Any last words?
See you on Tuesday.
All right. Like, subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you thought about everything we discussed tonight, and we will see you on Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
O'clock, you know where your fruits are.
What was Scoot's name? Oh, I got it.
MC Roach.